Good morning, everybody. It's Kula Dula from RawStocks. We have another edition of our pre-market prep today. And man, we finally did it. We made the push towards 6,600. And we have some crazy things to cover today. That's going to be Tesla mooning. We're going to have NVIDIA's weakness in the indexes. Are we prepared to continue up, or is this going to put us in some spiral of chop? We're going to cover it all. Stick with us. Let's get started. Quick shout out to our sponsors, Black Box Stocks and GammaEdge. Without those guys, we would not be able to provide this data to you every single day for free. So big shout out to those guys for that. Go make sure you support them using the links in my bio, in my description. You will find all of that in there. Okay, so like I said, nice little extension. We love using the daily 4 volume weighted moving average, this yellow line here, for distribution. And we've got exactly that. Distribution to the upside is 6,600 cap now with the evening star here. Well, we're going to cover that. But as of right now, it doesn't necessarily look like it. Okay, doesn't necessarily look like it. In fact, we made a new overnight high. We'll cover that as well. But before we do all that, I do want to do a quick little glance at data this week. That is the Tuesday. We have core retail sales, and I think this is going to be a shocker. I truly think this is going to come up short here. Look at the forecast here between retail sales and core retail sales, forecasting 0.2, which is a pretty significant drop over the previous month. Okay. Core retail sales, they have a gain. We'll be interested in seeing the difference here. Okay. Import prices will matter. This is going to be a huge little look into some tariff gauges here, right? And then we're also looking at later on in the week, and this is the big one, Wednesday. If there was ever a day to have a huge move, it's going to be Wednesday. Okay. Me personally, I think they'll top it out wherever they want on Monday and Tuesday. And then I think it'll be pulled back on FOMC. That's what I think will happen. But we're going to stick around. We're going to wait, see kind of what happens. But as of right now, there's some serious volatility expected this week based on Wednesday's data. Okay. So Thursday, we have unemployment claims. Expect this to uptick from this 245. We're going to see where this leads. Friday, nothing of anything special. But today, nothing today as well. So your real core data comes between Tuesday to Thursday. FOMC being the biggest and largest, and we'll cover that on Wednesday, and we'll probably do a live that day too. So just know what's coming. Okay, so let's take a look at the data. So clearly we see some level of extension up towards 6,700 now. In fact, that would be probably your closest move. I would say the 6,650 is probably, the 6,650 is probably your closest move Monday to Tuesday. Monday to Tuesday. And then if it wanted to continue to go, then we would see 6,700 probably before FOMC. That's my thoughts. However, I just got the feeling like we're not going to just pass through 6,600 this easy. I think we'll probably find ourselves kind of rattling the cages between the goalposts there. So let's take a look at today's data, and you can see that 66.15 kind of has this cap today and all the way back down towards 65.50. What's that look like on our intraday chart? Well, let's take a look at it. So you can see that 66.15 is kind of up here. If we look at the overnight or where we're at currently, it only puts us a little bit higher than where we're at. Now, obviously, once we're outside of our expected range, that's where we start to see squeezes, right? That's where we start to see dealers having to get long to cover, and they're having to buy shares. But until then, they're selling shares into this. So you have to expect that type of move, all right? And looking for it to be sold into up and towards 66.15 based on the data we're seeing, all right? Now, mind you, there's nothing overhead here. There's no super big shorts. This will just be a dealer's wall. If we do crack through that, then, like I said, expect that to give you a little bit of troubles. But as of right now, so what we're looking for is a short near 66.15. Personally, I would, if anything, right around these levels, you're looking to buy the dip and try to avoid 0 day. Okay, you're trying to avoid 0 day, and you're buying the dip into the previous day, Friday's close. Buy it into that, or Friday's low. Okay, if we lose that, then sure, just go ahead and get rid of that, or hedge it for potential downside towards 66.50 or 65.50. Excuse me. But this range here is really garbage, okay? Because it's super bullish. Everything's bullish here. Let me pull this back up. Everything's bullish. A ton of support below. But as of right now, it looks like 65.80 should hold in regards to the bullish support here. But this would be your short sub this, and you would be looking to target down towards that 65.50 zone. All right. All right. Tesla. I mean, what a rocket, right? What an absolute cannon. We talked about this trying to press back up into that 370 area, 360 and 370 area. Well, it got it, and it got the squeeze over the top of it. Finally got its extension. We'll come to find out it was Elon buying that really drove people to pile on. So we currently stand at 428. So if he swung calls, I mean, fantastic work. Where we look at the data is it's going to shock you. Okay. It is going to shock you when I pull this up. Still trying to get over my sickness, so bear with me as I clear my throat from time to time. Okay, so data is extremely bullish, okay? Extremely bullish. And for me, based on what we're seeing here, your buying zones really back down at 400. There's zero reason for you to get long where we're at because you have no edge. Besides the fact that you're just expecting this thing to go towards all-time highs. 450, 500 are starting to be the upside targets. You take a look at the weekly, 450 is the upside, 400 is the essentially the pull. You could look for this thing to pull back towards 400 from this point. Now, doesn't mean it has to, but that would be the draw for dealers, is to get this back towards 400 if they cap it at 450. As of right now, the data that I'm seeing virtually is going to have dealers just continuing to get long. And I think that's why we're seeing the surge where we're at 420. I think that 450 will probably be the mark that we're looking for. Let's take a look at this on the larger chart. 450 puts us right up in this range, almost back to all-time highs. Almost back up there, okay? I think we'll fall short right around that gap, right around here, okay? Well, let me just put it right in this gap is kind of where we'll have some difficulties. We'll take out this high at 440 to 450, and that zone right there is where you need to watch, okay? So let's watch that. To that, draw this over, and this is likely to be your resistance right here. Okay, gonna be a ton of selling into this zone right here. we've seen this go parabolic before, okay? Parabolic, and you just kind of follow it until you see it start to close below the daily 4. There's, like I said, there is no reason to get short on this unless you're literally just taking a lotto. I would not open any type of large position against Tesla at this point. You're just going to add fuel to the fire, and you'll never get any type of entry. But as of right now, there is zero reason to get long, or, well, let's clarify. You can always get long, but just expect to be able to average into that, and your buying zone's all the way back at 400. So when you look at risk versus reward, it doesn't really add up for you at this point based on where we're at. We always talk about getting short up here, not buying up here. Okay. All right. Now, taking a look at NVIDIA. This is a mixed bag here. Okay. This is a mixed bag. So full complex still remains positive here, still call dominated, 1800 to the ceiling, 160 to the floor. But when we start looking at this week, a little bit of a mixed bag here in regards to what's going on. So anytime we really have any type of dip into this area, a lot of uncertainty. Okay, there's what I would say is there's no edge here as well, besides knowing that there's a relative ceiling here at 185 to 180 for the short term. But it does seem as if there is some weakness creeping into NVIDIA here. But I think that might be coming in the terms of covered calls. People are looking to say, hey, all right, I'll lock up some money. I expect to pull back. But that's kind of what we would see in this instance here. This shows a little bit of weakness, but this overall, this still remains very, very call dominated. 2.89 million in the net gex here. So very, very positive. But 180 seems to be a short-term ceiling for right now, and potentially look for this thing to peel back all the way down towards 165 if that's what it wants to do. So for me personally, I'm watching that. Let me double check. Yeah, 175 to 174. Watch this zone here to act as a potential pivot. If we get below 174, I would expect this thing to really start to sell down towards that 170 zone, that previous day high there, and see if it wants to close that gap, or just watch this thing continue to press down towards 165. I think if we start to fade below that, I think we could probably push down towards that 165 zone. Maybe get to that 160 zone. All right. So prepare yourself for that. Still very much call dominated, but you might be seeing some type of relief where we push down a little bit before making its way back up towards that 180. Okay. All right, so we've covered NVIDIA, we've covered Tesla, and we've covered the S&P. I do think that this week brings a major amount of volatility, as you can tell. When we start looking at the indexes, this is one little last thing I want to cover. Give me 1 second. The expected move here for the week, as of right now, is only 0.5%. Okay, that's the expected move. Now, can it get squeezy? Sure, but there's a lot of chop here, and I expect some high levels of volatility to start to creep up. When we start taking a look at VIX here, you can see that there's a tremendous amount of overhead short suppression here on the VIX. You start dialing in this week, you can look at this, just straight bullish for the markets. This is a full-blown suppression this week. Start looking into the week after, not a ton of contracts. Where is it at? Okay, 1022. You start looking at 1022, we really start to see a pivot start to create itself at 1022. It gives people breathing room, but short term, this looks very much bullish to neutral. Okay, But come into October, it does look like they have quite a bit of hedges built up. Potentially see some type of pullback in towards the second half of, well, the later part of September and into October. I would expect something larger to happen, but as of right now, we remain bullish on the markets. And there is a tremendous amount of probably chop that we're going to experience. Very small days to come as far as like gains. I don't think that we'll see super large moves. I think that Tesla is going to be the outlier here. And in fact, I think there'll probably be a very large correction on Tesla coming, but it's not here yet. Okay. Very much bullish. So, anyways, that's going to cover it for today, guys. Make sure you remember that FOMC that is this week. If you guys are interested in what we do, come take a look at us at RawStocksLLC.com. That is RawStocksLLC.com. We have a 7-day, $7 trial. You can come join us with all of our alerts, all of our analysts, kind of see what we do and how we execute, and have such a high success rate on our trades. So if you're interested in this, come take a look. It's in the link in the bio. It's all over the place. Anywhere you can find us in the description, wherever you find us, wherever you're watching this, make sure you subscribe, follow, like, share, retweet, do it all. Keep us growing. And thanks for tuning in today. And until tomorrow, catch you later, guys.